Today is Tuesday, March 8th. I am not going to open the meeting for tonight's school building committee meeting. It's come to my attention that the notice was not posted at Town Hall in a timely fashion, inhibiting us the ability to vote and deliberate on items for fear that we would violate open meeting law. What I am going to do is we're going to confirm the date of our next meeting, which I believe will take place on April 12th. If you can confirm that, Mary.
April 12th, 6 p.m.
Okay, so the next meeting of the school building committee the next meeting of the school building committee will take place on April 12th at 6 p.m. at the Abington Police Station in the community room. What I will do is invite anyone that would like. You're welcome to leave. I am going to ask Mary to get up for the benefit of the general public at home and to give us an update as to the project and where it is in various statuses. There will not be any deliberation or discussion regarding any of the information that Mary or Roger share with us. So, again, we're not holding the meeting tonight. However, for the benefit of the general public at home, I am going to ask Mary and or Roger to give us a general update as to where the project is. And again, anyone that does not wish to stay for the update, you are welcome to leave.
I'm happy to see that nobody decided to leave for my update, because it's going to be fantastic. I did provide you with a series of pictures that we'll go over after, and then, of course, my typical plan that has all kinds of colored lines on it, and I'll explain to you what that means in a few minutes. But let me just say, it's always great to come up and do a construction update when so much has happened on the site. And if you've been checking the video camera, there is video evidence of a lot of happening. So I have a list of items that I just want to bring to your attention. We talked about the underground detention system 200. I'm happy to report that that's the largest underground water detention system on the site that is completed, and they have backfilled that at this time. So they jumped right from 200 right into 300. 300, you may remember, is outside of the gymnasium on the west-hand side. Just today, we started to dig that. And there is a little concern with some unsuitable materials, but it does not look overwhelming at this time. The water service to the new school has begun. That started today. And they probably have about 50 to 60 feet of new water line installed. All of the existing foundations have now been backfilled with vapor barrier and insulation and compacted. There is still some foundation area that I'll point out to you in a few minutes that still needs to be installed, but things are looking good. Preparation for this, another slab on grade pour in the auditorium area and the cafeteria area is underway. The contractor has pretty much completed the underground utilities in that area, and then we bring in crushed stone and compacting that. Grading of the seating area in the auditorium, if you remember the lower part, because of it's a slope area, that rough grading has now taken place, and that looks very good. I know we talked a lot in previous meetings about the soil conditions of the synthetic field, and that we decided to have the civil engineer be on site to witness the activities there. We have begun doing the proof rolling of the synthetic field. We don't have a lot of it done at this point, only because we're still moving materials, but PAR has been on site witnessing that, and I'm happy to report that we have no issues discovered at this time. The last section of footing that we were putting in Zone 4, we did encounter a small amount of ledge, and I'm sure that Mary will probably give you an update of where we stand with the unsuitables and the ledge later on. Backfilling of the large block wall is kind of at a standstill right now because of some sport lighting that we're putting in. And I'll talk about that a little bit as we move on. And they're still making some decisions on some fencing, but it's still going. Remember, there's a large pile of unsuitable materials. I'm happy to say for the last 2 weeks they have been trucking that material off-site, and there's still a pretty good pile of material there, but it's still underway. Overall, I'd say approximately 80% of the exterior wall foundation is now in place. In fact, 100% of the footing for the exterior foundation is poured in place. I scaled off the foundation walls. It looks like we have just under 400 feet left to go. I would say, assuming the weather stays with them, I would say probably mid next week they may have that completed, which is a great sign. The waterproofing of the auditorium stage and ramp area has already taken place, and that's looking good as well. In terms of plumbing, there is a very deep, large pipe that runs pretty much the length of the building, or from the west wall of Zone 2, which is the cafeteria where it exits the building, goes all the way over into the high school. That's in place, and they're actually doing some of the sub drains right now over in the nursery school. So all of that will be tied in. A big milestone for us was the 20,000-gallon recycled water tank was installed, and it's connected to the roof drainage system at this point. Foundation perimeter drains are about 75% complete at this point. There's a special acid waste tank for the science classrooms at the high school that we reported last time that the foundation walls were poured, but the actual tank is on site and actually set and ready to go in. Electrical work has been ongoing. The main electric room and the MDF room on the first floor and all the sub-electrical closets, pretty much we're almost at 100% with all that underground conduit, and that is looking very good. The electrical contractor, Levangie, also has temporary power now installed in Zone 6 of the building. And a lot of people are happy about that because right now they've pretty much been getting their power from generators, so they'll be able to plug in. Also, sports lighting poles. So the poles that are going to, there are 6 poles that get installed around the synthetic field area. That company has been on site, and 3 of the bases have been installed as of today. So 3 out of the 6 are there. And then after a short period of time, the actual lights will go up. The lights won't be energized for quite some time, but they'll be up and people will be able to see them. And remarkably, only 9 days ago, Stella steel erectors showed up on site, and pretty much all of the middle school, high school locker rooms, main gymnasium, the entranceway, and the fitness center. All that structural steel is in place. There's still a lot more work that takes place with that, but that's up, and that's, if you're looking on your video cameras, that's what you're actually looking at. We average like 3 to 5 truckloads of new steel each and every day, so they've got a great pace going. They do have some lay down area, but pretty much it comes in, it goes up. That particular contractor works 4 days, 4 10-hour days. So they don't typically work on Fridays. So the gymnasium, or Zone 3 part of the building, is pretty much all set. The crane is scheduled to remobilize tomorrow, and they'll start to build out the auditorium section of the building. Also, the non-structural steel metal framing contractor was on site, and he's ready to mobilize, and he hopes to have a workforce there this Friday. All right, so very quickly, if you take a look at this map, you'll see there's some red dots there. Those red dots show the approximate location of the sports lighting poles. They're like 90 to 100 feet tall. If the dots filled in, those are the poles that they have in place. If you see just open circles, that's yet to be put into place. You'll notice here, there's a little white area. That's where the underground detention system 300 is being installed as of today. Okay. You'll notice we had this green line around the foundation. That's where all of the foundation walls are in place. The orange line, the footing is in place, and they're working on the walls as we speak. So we just have that little bit more to go, and that part will be complete. There are some foundation or columns that get placed inside of the building, but it's good to have east meet west or north meet south. I think that's all I want to show you. So I did provide you with some of the pictures in case you are interested. They're great to hang up on your refrigerator at home. Some of the pictures don't print out as good as they look on my monitor, but on the first page, top left-hand corner, you'll see there's a bunch of small people down in the box. That was the excavation for the 20,000-gallon reclaimed water tank. It's actually 16 feet deep and 48 feet long. And then you'll see at the right, there's the tank and a couple of pictures that show them lifting the tank and putting it down into that big trench box. And you'll see the tank with straps. Those yellow straps are connected to a weighting system, and it holds the tank in place. And then you see the big shadow there, that's my self-portrait, but that's the septic tank that leads into the tank. And then you can see on the right-hand side on page 2, that is some backfilling with the special stone. And then on page 3 at the top, you'll see that there's just a lot of stone backfill. That's the actual top of the tank at that point. I did mention in zone 4 that we did encounter some ledge, and you see the 3 pictures there of different locations that they took and had to hammer out the ledge. Turning quickly to page 4, you'll see the first picture. It looks like a nice beach pathway. That's a pathway of stone that the contractor had to install so that the crane and the supply steel trucks can actually get over to the slab area. And basically the next few pictures that you see are different pieces of steel elements that have been used, and you can see on page 5, bottom left, that is the high school locker room and fitness area. And let's see, page 6 on the bottom left, that's an example of the sanitary drain lines for the bathrooms. That's actually 5B, which is the nursery school area. On page 7, the top 2 pictures show the synthetic field area. And you'll see that the machine, we talk about that vibratory roller, trying to do the proof rolling. That's the machine that was performing that activity. Bottom right-hand side is just about the closing up of the 200 underground detention system. And then on the next page, top 8, that is the underground detention system completed. And it's not a good picture, but they're spreading the structural material on top of that. Bottom left, you'll see that truck. That truck is sitting in the ditch for the new detention system that they started to put in today. Page 8 shows some lines there, which is electrical conduit, and then page 9 at the top, it shows more. This is a small fraction of the amount of electrical conduit that you would find in the slabs there. The picture on the top right-hand corner of page 9, you'll see it looks like a curved wall. That is the new stage for the stage in the auditorium at the high school. Difficult to see, but the bottom of page 9 is the new water service that's being installed. That's where they actually made the tap. And on the back page, you'll see some of the water line that they have in place. And then the white truck with the tower is the boring machine that we use to put in those sport lighting towers. And the bottom left-hand is the auger bit. It basically drills a hole that's 36 inches wide. They set a precast concrete base in it, and then they backfill it with concrete. And the bottom one on the right is the one I'm most excited about. I don't know why, but it's when the 2 footings came together, and then we could say, ha ha, It's like a milestone. It's like building the railroad, and they actually lined up. Okay, that's all I have for you. Thank you.
So I have several updates on the project budget. Provided for you tonight is an updated budget dated March 8th. There are two items I'd like to highlight in that budget for your information. The first is in the miscellaneous cost column under the construction testing. We've increased the commitment on that line item from $60,000 to, from $30,000 to $60,000. You can see that we're still tracking well below the budget amount allotted for that construction testing requirements for the project. And this is really based on the fact that to date we've been performing soil compaction tests, concrete placement inspections, concrete strength tests for all the foundation areas and the footings, and we've accumulated costs of over $26,000 to date. With the structural steel arriving on site, that means that we have to enter another round of construction monitoring services and testing services by Briggs Engineering and Testing. They have already done a preliminary site visit earlier last week, I guess, just to start to coordinate the inspections that they need to perform under the Mass State Building Code with regard to the structural steel assembly, detailing, and welding. I'd also like to note, in addition to what Roger said with regard to the structural steel, we also received decking on site. So we're not only putting up columns and beams, but the roof decking for the gymnasium and locker room areas was also received. And Brait is very quickly going to be transitioning into doing roof detail work, so that we'll probably be working on getting roofing materials on the top of the gym and locker rooms fairly soon. In addition to the increase in the commitment for the construction testing, we also are showing in other project costs an expenditure of $47,000. A large portion of that is the $41,200 for the snow blower mini loader that we bought, and it is assigned to that line item for now at the direction of MSBA. They're currently working on our project funding agreement amendment based on the bid that was received, and if we were to bill this against contingency, it would disrupt their process for providing that bid amendment. So they asked me for now to bill it to other project costs, and I've worked with Felicia with regard to that. And once the PFA, project funding agreement, a bid amendment is issued, then we will do a reconciliation to put this down into the owner contingency line item like we talked about when we originally approved the purchase of that piece of equipment. So I just wanted to make you aware of it, that we have flagged it. We will make that adjustment once the PFA is issued by MSBA. And MSBA at this point has sent the budget for the project funding agreement to senior management, so they're expecting that by your next meeting we will have that in hand for execution. Additionally, I have provided for you an update on the earthwork unit prices. As Roger had mentioned in his progress report, we have encountered ledge, which was unexpected. We have also encountered additional unsuitable materials in the middle school zone 5A in the northwest area. So the report does depict the fact that we have a current accumulation on the ledge of 158 cubic yards, which is a new line item billed against the unsuitable allowances. And we have added 202 cubic yards of unsuitable materials in the middle school zone 5A northwest. What Roger also mentioned, or I'm not sure if he mentioned, is that in the excavation for the underground storm drainage structure 300, today they did the excavation, and at the base of that unit we encountered unsuitables again. There is a vein that runs diagonally through the location of the structure, similar to the building requirements, in order to properly support the USD and the roadway which will be above it and ensure proper drainage for that feature. We will need to remove the unsuitables, and Brait was directed today to proceed with the removal of those materials. Unlike other areas, it is more of a vein in the location rather than a large swath, so we're hoping that we can limit the amount of additional allowance values we would need to account for. but the depth of that vein is undetermined at this point. We'll be finding out more in the next week or so. So based on all of the unsuitables, boulders, and ledge encountered to date, and the allowances and various unit prices for adds and deducts for the project, we are now at an overage of $12,692. So that would require, if we were to complete the project today, we would need to issue a change order to Brake Builders for an additional $12,692. So we've basically consumed all the allowances in the contract, and we're now in a change order mode for this work. But again, because we keep encountering these issues, this number is going to be adjusting over time. And you know, we're hopeful that we're getting close to the finish line, but I would also remind you that we had indications that we may also encounter materials at the tennis court construction. So it is kind of an open book with regard to that line item. Additionally, I have a new item for you as a report, and that is change order proposal tracking report. I have yet to include the earthwork allowances, just because it is a moving target and we haven't come to a point where Brate is requiring additional funding. But we have for you on the report 5 proposals from the contractors, some initiated by the owner, others initiated by the architect, which include the synthetic turf upgrade that we approved at your last meeting, and some minor changes or adjustment to some room layouts. Some of the areas is just adapting the teacher rooms to be more functional throughout, and that resulted actually in a credit. And we have some casework items that are going to be deleted and traded off for refrigerators in another area. So to date, we are looking at a change order balance of $23,008, which would be assigned to the change order contingency. And with each of your monthly meetings, or however often we meet, I will provide an update for you on where we stand with the status of these change orders. Within the month, we also received invoices from KBA, AI3, Brate Builders, of which Brate billed this month an astounding $3.5 million, which I'm sure that the treasurer is having a little bit of palpitations about the amount of money that's going out. And also we paid out on the mini loader snow blower, which was at $41,200. So all of the expenditures and commitments to date are tracking on or below budget.
But we are providing her with updates.
We are. Every month, as required by our contract and also required by MSBA, we do update our cash flow reports so that Sonia, the town treasurer, is aware of how we're forecasting or how we're expending to forecast and what adjustments we need to make sure that she's comfortable with the bonding requirements for the project. MSBA is also requiring to have those because they have to understand their global bonding requirements for all of the projects they have throughout the state. I think that's all I have for now for update.
So item D, secondary access road. It's been communicated to me by the town hall that there is a local developer who is exploring development of some property in the area behind the high school and behind Riley Field. More to come on that as information is provided. I communicated back that suffice it to say, I'd recommend to both the school committee and the Abington School Building Committee that we certainly support having a secondary access road that would be for the library, the town hall, the school building. Those would all be good things, but that the construction of something like that, the control, the design, the budgeting is beyond the auspices, the charge, and what this committee or the school committee has in terms of its scope and authority, beyond its purview. So I think that we would all agree that this would be a good thing if it comes to fruition, but it's not, the funding isn't a part of this project. It would be beyond the control of this committee. And so that's what I was able to communicate to the town. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for everyone's understanding about the lack of, unfortunately, about the notice not being posted on time. The next meeting of the school building committee will take place on April 12th. And that meeting will take place here at the police station at 6 p.m. Have a great evening, and we will see you then.
Just curious, we just did the fire department. And they say very successful grants. Because being, do you guys do many grants?
And Norwell with a turnover once again. That's been haunting them this game. I don't keep track of turnovers, but it's got to be quite a few against them. So Abington passes in, and Brianna, left-handed, pushes it in. Nice rebound by Aaron. Back out to Brianna, who drives down, and a good pass out to Sydney. Good hustle by that Norwell player, number 3. Ashley Vonder to come up and tie up Sydney, but Abington had the possession arrow, so now it's Abington's ball out of bounds. Little top to bottom rotation on the box on the inbounds. Oh, nice shot by Sydney, just around the rim. And Norwell will push it up. Erin Foley can pick your pocket, so you got to be careful of her. She's got quick hands. If you leave that ball out in front of her, she will take it right off your dribble. Oh, there's a lot of missed ball grabbing there, but good job by Haley getting her hands on it. Nice cross dribble by Erin Foley up in the middle and drawing the foul. I tell you, I love that guard. The guard driving to the basket creates so much opportunity, either from fouling or drawing in the defenses to dishing off like Maura Hurley did earlier. You have Erin with 2 shots. She has 4 points. Just bounces in and out of the rim. This is a nice free throw rhythm. Good rotation, backskin rotation on the ball. There, very pretty shot, very pretty free throw. And once again, full court pressure by Abington. That certainly rattles Norwell. 2 minutes left in the game. We have Abington up 21-13. Nice bounce pass, but Erin Foley falling down from the zone to cover that center. Excellent anticipation on her part, sneaking down, anticipating that pass to the center. Norwell inbounds his tied up ball. Possession arrow went Norwell's way. So looking for it down low. Oh, nice hands by Aaron. But Lindsay Ryan breaking out on the fast break. Abington getting back into their defense. The coach yelling for motion defense. You'll see a lot of people moving around on motion. Trying to create that open look to the basket. Nice shot by Sydney, a little hard, but nice shot. Rebound by Brianna. And she lost the ball. Still good hustle. Good hustle. Abington staying in their 4-court press, which has been giving Norwell a little problem. Oh yeah, you could see how she got confused looking where to send that ball. Oh, that was a travel, but the refs didn't catch that. She had a little stutter step when she left the ball. Good defense by Erin Foley. Here goes Lindsay Ryan with the breakaway. Up and no, not in, but Haley Gomes follows up with the 2 shots. Nice hustle by the big Haley Gomes. When I say the big, I mean center. Haley Gomes to follow up on that shot. There's a travel. I can't believe the ref didn't call that, but nice steal by Brianna. There's some good hustle back by Norwell. Brianna should have just put that up. She's an unselfish player, so that's why she wanted to make that play, but she just should have put that up and got the open look and scored those 2 points. Oh, that wasn't even close. Now we have Abington pushing the ball up over to Haley, over to Lindsay, who, missed everything. She can make those shots. And I'm glad they take the shot when they have an open look. There's no reason not to. You gotta instill confidence in the girls that when you're open, you gotta take the look. We're down to 9 seconds. Lindsay with the steal. She's gonna take it all the way. Hope to get a nice layup in there. Ooh, she missed the layup. Norwell with the rebound, and that's the end of the first half with the score, Abington 23, Norwell 13. And we'll come back to you at the start of the second half. Here we go, the start of the second half. Abington up 23-18. Nice gentleman from Norwell just gave me a mint, so you might hear that bopping around in my mouth. I don't know if he's trying to tell me to be quiet or I have bad breath. There's more Hurley, starts off gunning right off the bat, challenges that defense. Great ball handling. We have two excellent ball handlers out there in Aaron Foley and Maura Hurley. It's Molly Ferguson with the ball, harassed by the Norwell girl, who ends up with the steal and the layup. And she missed the layup. But Sydney, good hustle back, is going to get called for the foul. Sydney Hamilton. I want to give Rebecca Cochran a shout out because I didn't see her last name in the first half when she was in there, so I apologize for that. It's the first foul of the half, a two-shot foul. Madeline Polanski shooting for Norwell. Nice form, nice sweet form. High arc, high wrist bend, good backspin on the ball. It's her first points of the game. A little short. Nice rebound by Molly. And here comes Abington charging, pushing the ball right up the pace. Nice drive into the middle. And pass over to Molly. And good hustle by Sydney. The ball's tied up. Possession goes to Norwell. Boy, I tell you, it's tough rebounding in the middle there. Norwell girls collapse on the ball very quickly. And if you don't have good hands and bring that ball down, keep it above your head so they can't reach in and grab it, you're going to have a tough life inside against them. Abington in a nice 2-3 zone. Once again, Norwell just can't hold on to that ball through the whole possession. And kind of the story of the game for them. So Abington sets up baseline. Good defense by Norwell. Aaron's going to make a sharper pass. Tough to go over somebody. Might want to dribble out a little bit to set up that pass, the bounce pass. And then she gets the ball back on a good steal on a ball down low to the Abington forward. So once again, motion defense. So you see a lot of people moving around, creating open space, an open look to the basket. Hopefully a layup. Aaron tried to pass the ball inside to Sydney, and it was picked up by Norwell. It's a tough pass down low there. Once again, Norwell almost threw it away. I think if you keep pressure on them, Norwell, they tend to make a lot of mistakes with the ball. So that's the good man-to-man defense is going to an aggressive zone. It's making them turn the ball over. A call on Aaron Foley, I believe. Down low, and in comes Ansley Beal. She has 3 fouls, but almost all the points for Norwell at this point. Oh, nice anticipation and steal on that pass by Sydney. She has such long arms. It's tough to think you're going to get the ball in over those arms, and she sticks them up, and there's another 3-4 inches that you forgot about. It's a nice drive by Abington there. Created an inbound. I'd like Sydney to take some of those shots right around the free throw line. She can shoot a free throw, so that's not a shot for her that she shouldn't be able to have a feel for. Good aggressive defense by Norwell. Nice shot by Aaron. And the refs missed the travel. Sydney did travel with the ball once she got it, not knowing if when the buzzer went off, if that was going to be a turnover or not. But she puts it back up and gets 2 points for Abington. Good heads-up play. If you don't hear the whistle, play the whistle. Abington pushes the ball up. Nice pass into Sydney. Oh, and there's a nice turn and look by Sydney. Nice spin.